Dumelang Jumbo, bonsoir, happy Africa Day, South Africa, and welcome to Expressions. This is definitely the place where you get to air your views. I'm your host, Jacqueline Mapala.
Kanti-ke mina ngumxolisiwa kwaMasango sizokusipkhoma phela kungwelesine kusihlwa. Now, as we celebrate this awesome day, sithi happy Africa Day to you. Namhlanje kusihlwa ke Jackie, we ask very important questions. We want to know ngabe ulusha lase Africa lu united na?
That is a very important question, Kolisi. Today, the continent celebrates Africa Day. This annual event basically commemorates the founding of the Organization of the African Unity in 1963, which is now known as the AU.
Jackie, kodwa namhlanje as we celebrate this very important day, sithatha spotlight sisibeke kulusha la Africa. Are we united? Do young South Africans consider themselves to be part of the African continent? Let's just quickly find out what our street journalist found on the streets.
Hi Expression, my name is Dan Dovo from Zimbabwe. I'm hanging today here at SABC with different African youth from different African countries, including South Africa. We are trying to understand how unified the African youth is. We are celebrating Africa Day. I'm sure my participants have got a lot to say.
Yes, we as South Africans are very united. I feel like, you know, even though we're not together as one, we tend to connect through our voices and our colors as one.
Oh, thank you very much. But looking at Africa general, why is it important for African young people to be united?
I feel that, Bali, it's important for us to be united so that we can show a united front, so that there might be less crimes, less xenophobia attacks, and that we can live in harmony together.
Wow, they sound interesting. It's very interesting, very inspirational indeed. So as young people, why do you think, well, what are the activities that we can do to foster that kind of unity? Because it's not all about talking, but what can we do that can bring us together?
I feel that as youth, we should maybe form a committee where we can all get together and talk about the problems and issues that we have since we are young, so we don't grow up into that attitude that the older generation already has. So we can change the culture of unity within ourselves and amongst ourselves, so we can grow into a country that is more peaceful, so we can help each other as going further.
A message that I can say, and the message I can send to them is, our hands as a foreign people are open, not in a bad way, but in a good way. So we can be together, touch our hands together as African people, because it's African unity. So I can give you an example. You cannot walk around today, you go in Paris or in Belgium or in Germany, you found a white man calling a white man from Germany in France, in Paris. So you found a person from Paris calling a German person as a foreigner. You know, you understand? Because they're all from Europe. So us as African, we're supposed to be one. We're supposed to be united. Do you understand? But there's a lot of division between us and South African youth. We are not united.
We've heard the views of young people concerning African unity and the importance of young people to unite as a people. You know, we've met different people from DRC, from South Africa, from Zimbabwe, from Nigeria. They are only emphasizing on unity and togetherness, as well as the importance of education in achieving that unity. You know, they express views that since now we are celebrating Africa Day in this month of May, they say it is important that we come together in different initiatives that have got one agenda, one goal of African unity.
Wow, young people, they're giving us a lot of food for thought. But to help us take this discussion further, I'm joined in studio by Uluba Banda, who is from the Women's League, and she's the chairperson of the African Diaspora Forum. And I'm also joined as well in studio by Martha Bikulu. Welcome to Expressions.
Thank you, Jackie.
Guys, it's Africa Day. I thought you'd be like, or something.
We've been celebrating, so
you've been celebrating, so you're tired. And of course, also in studio with me is my co-host, Kolisi, who is manning our social media corner, and he's going to be bringing a lot of insight from young people as they air their views on the topic that we're discussing. So let's continue with our discussion. Ladies, I think let me just get straight to the point. Let me ask you, I think, Luba, let me start with you. Our poll question: are our young people, young African youths, united?
From my view, I think young people are not united in South Africa. African young people in South Africa, they lack unity. Yeah.
And I think I wanna bring you in, Martha. I mean, you have your own experience when it comes to being an African in South Africa, which again is such a strange term, because if you are South African, you are African as well. So why is there such a discrepancy? But tell us a little bit about your experience here.
Yeah, well, that was saying, like, South Africans belong to those people who in South Africa, and I'm grateful that we have, in South Africa, we've got a good constitution that they can welcome migrants. But I find that there's quite like, I don't know if I can say it is discrimination or what, because I went to, since I was in my childhood, my mother was telling me, you know what, a stranger can stay in your home even for 5 years, 10 years, will be going because he have got his own home. That means just give him time and love him, because maybe there was a reason that he leaves his home. So that means you have to love him, because maybe he's looking for someone. So, but I didn't find it in South Africa, you know. So when I came, I went to Home Affairs, to apply for a permit because I can't stay illegally. But I was shocked, you know, as I see people being like, you guys were coming to steal our job. And still, I'm a qualified nurse, but until now, I don't have a job. I'm not here.
So, and I mean, I know that in South Africa, we had a few xenophobic attacks. And I mean, obviously, whenever we think about African unity, we obviously know that it was actually created in the spirit of bringing us together in order for us to be united and to have cooperation. And I think for you, Luba, I mean, how do we begin to find a common ground as South Africans with the rest of our African counterparts?
Yeah, you see, Jackie, xenophobia begins in the mind. Then it goes through the mouth, then to the action. So what we have to do is to transform, or rather change the way people think. So I think the best approach that we can make as young people, as African young people, is to foster social cohesion in our, especially in townships.
And you know, you're speaking about townships, but we know that it's the young people who you were seeing on the streets, the ones who were responsible for some of the violence that we saw with the xenophobic attacks. So how do young people who, number one, don't even know their African history, begin to understand that we are part of the same agenda, we are all moving in the same direction in terms of a Pan-Africanist idea?
Yes. On social cohesion events, or other programs, we make sure that there's always practical and theory. And in theory, that's when we have to teach South Africans about their history, because I've discovered that a lot of South Africans do not travel, hence they do not know other nationalities and other cultures of different countries. So hence they have to be told, especially in the issue of apartheid, that during apartheid, where did their own fathers and grandfathers seek refugees? They seek them in Zimbabwe. In Zimbabwe, we gained independence in 1980. So imagine for 14 years we've been welcoming South Africa. If our grandfathers would have closed doors as well and said, no, we're not welcoming you here, can you imagine where they would have gone? So we expect the same from them, because when we are migrating to South Africa, initially it's a cry for help. We are here because of various reasons, political reasons, economic reasons. We are here to search for greener pastures. We are not here to steal. If you look into it, a lot of youths, when they come here, most of them, especially from West Africa, they venture into entrepreneurship. They start jobs and employ. And Martha, I mean, it's nice for us to talk about, you know, Africa Day, but what does it really mean? What does it really mean for young people?
So that's what I'm saying, you know, everything I think so we have to start about our mind, you know. So we have like to tell them that, to say the history, because if I can see ANC, that was one day I went to a meeting, I was telling it, you can see ANC. ANC is the African national. That means it's not South Africa, it's Africa. That means Africa means everyone is in Africa. That we have to create like a social conversation, talking to each other. Then from there, we learn each other, we'll learn with the culture and where those people are from. And you can see that there's even, I can see even our language, there's some words are the same. You can see, yes.
So there's a point at which we are all a beautiful melting pot. As much as we're different, we're all reflecting, I suppose, the same type of tapestry, if that's the right way to put it. I mean, I think before we go to Africa Day, I'm going to give you an opportunity just to speak 30 seconds just about your organization and what you do. But I think let's do that a little bit after the break, ne? I think we should do that after the break, because there's definitely a lot that they're going to go into. But Mohedi, stay with us on this Africa Day celebration. We'll be back right after this.
Yes, Siphinde sinibingelele sinamukele. You're still with us right here on Expressions. Kungaphambili SABC 1 eMzansi for sure. Namhlanje phela sisabungaza usuku lokuzikhakhazisa ngokuba ama-Afrika amahle. Well guys, I'm joined in studio by Butebogo kanye no Sisu Sanga. Good evening and welcome to Expressions, guys. Happy Africa Day.
Happy Africa Day.
Awesome, awesome. Bratebza wena bosangitshela ukuthi there's certain things that we as Africans can distinctively relate to and say, this is what makes us Africans. What are those things?
First thing is that this Day of African Day means a lot to us Africans. But the thing that it's happening around our African counterparts and the youth of in the township is the distance that we are having within our communities. Because if you can check, some of our African counterparts, the youth of Africa, they're staying in the southern, northern suburbs. They didn't want to come to be the part of the community of around the township, so that you can engage one another, can know their traditions, their culture, where they're coming from, their backgrounds actually, so that they must understand the background of the township people. Like if you can check, they say there's a way that we are xenophobic. We are coming from now, to be honest to you, we have lost some of our African ladies through the gruesome death. I can make you an example where I come from in Naledi. We have lost a community leader, Lerato Muloi, who was killed by 2 foreign nationals, one from Zimbabwe, one from Lesotho. It's where it gives people to their emotion to boil up. But we are trying to unite as an African people, that let us be together and sort this mess which is happening around Africa, so that Africa cannot be a bloody Africa. It needs to be Africa for all the nations.
So clearly you feel there's still a long way for us to go before we fully become united as Africans, right? And of course, you're also making reference, he's making reference to the spate of killings we've seen, the femicide that has been happening in South Africa. Sasanga, clearly you've also have some sentiments to share there.
Of course I do. Look, it's broken the hearts of so many women and the hearts of so many South Africans as well as Africans. I don't think we need to focus on the separation of our emotions. It hurts a Nigerian, Congolese, a Zimbabwean just as much as it would hurt a South African that someone has been killed, that a mother, a daughter, a sister has been killed. And if we start to focus on where people come from, it may cause an additional problem instead of focusing on the very issue, which is the femicide. It is the killings that are the issue, not where people come from, not the backgrounds that they have. We need to deal with the fact that people are dying.
And of course, someone would actually say this has nothing to do with me, but this is all happening in our African continent at a time where we're supposed to be celebrating being African. Do you guys really think that we still have a long way to go as a community, as the African community?
Truly, we are having a long way to go because of the distance that we are having within our African continent and our African brothers. Because the time that we get to start to debate, to have issues, to come with, there's some boiling issues. If you can check, it's not about that they are coming here to get greener pastures or what. If you can go along our way during the apartheid era, when our forefathers seek refugees, they seek refugees, like let's say, example, in Tanzania, they were using pass out whenever that they were going out to town. But when they are coming to South Africa, they need to respect our democracy, they need to respect our constitution, so that we can work together. Whatever the education, if they're coming with the education expertise in our country, let us share that education expertise. Change of facilities, change of education, so that we can empower one another.
Exactly, and of course, which takes us to that African proverb that it takes a village to grow, to raise a child, right? Of course, Jackie, and of course, I think there has been some reference to how we as Africans like to celebrate Europe, we celebrate all the Western cultures. We don't really know much about Africa. Why can't our stories really be told? What's your take on that?
You know what, to be honest, and I think this is definitely the conversation that people have been having around decolonizing our education system. I mean, it's about time for us to really start pushing forward African history, African narratives, and African ideas so that we can truly be united. I mean, how else are we going to do it if we don't know who we are and where we come from?
Exactly, and it's time for us to start telling our stories, which is exactly why we go straight to our social media. Hey, we still have that picture of us there. We like to talk to you guys, so we're just going to quickly just find out what you guys think of what's been happening. Oh, I get, guys. So, Sasanga, you were talking that as a woman, it becomes very important to know what makes you distinctively African.
Absolutely. And look, I'm at a point in my life where I'm so excited about the fact that little things like the Afro are coming back, because we're starting to take pride in the things that make us African, in the things that make us truly ourselves, instead of trying to chase European ideals that we just can't meet because it's not who we authentically are. So my focus right now is trying to understand where I come from and where I'm going as a result, and trying to truly understand the different people that have informed who I've become. So my Xhosa upbringing, my African background, and so forth. So,
and of course, our wall on social media is looking very colorful. Look at this, Jackie. There's Happy Africa Day from Odo Asali. You know, there are all these very, very, very nice things that are coming through. And I'm just going to quickly scroll and see what else we can get here on Africa Day. But Tebogo, as a young South African man, what do you feel needs to be done in order for us to sing the same tune?
The thing that I feel needs to be done is just to sit around with our African brothers, to say, together we are one. These things of crime that are happening around our area, let us try and sort them out. Because if you can check, in the township, in our township, we've got many kinds of cultural people that are coming from out of Africa. We've got Pakistan, Somalians, we've got Mozambicans, Zimbabweans, but they're forming part of the community.
Yeah, let's just quickly continue with that conversation after the break. And of course, we also get your reaction on social media straight after this. Stay with us.
Welcome back. If you just joined us, you are watching Expressions, and today we are celebrating a very significant day. We're celebrating Africa Day, and as you know, I'm still joined in studio by Martha and Luba, and of course we have to get to our closing comments where we wrap everything up. I think I just want to come to you, Luba. I mean, how do you engender leadership, especially when it comes to young people? I mean, we heard a lot of interesting comments coming across from Mkolisi as well as the guests that he had there. How do we engender leadership so that young people feel like they can do something about the challenges that they're facing? Maybe what you're doing in your organization.
Firstly, I would explain what we do in our organization on a daily basis. As the African Diaspora Forum, we're doing social cohesion workshops in different townships around Gauteng, whereby we bring together young people, locals and migrants, to educate them on the history of Africa and the importance of being an African and where we are coming from, the roots of our continent. And also, on the days of the week, we work as an advice office whereby people come in facing challenges of documentation, health-related issues, those kind of stuff. Yeah. With the issue of leadership, maybe it's because some of us, we coming from very tough countries. We were not spoon-fed by our leaders. I believe that democracy shouldn't be abused, and we shouldn't be every day putting our blame on the government. Young people should wake up and go and work and start their own jobs, because those jobs that they are fighting for, somebody created those jobs. So we cannot be fighting for a position in Checkers, and Checkers was started maybe I don't know how many years ago. So why not young people collaborate, sit together, start new things and work on them and employ?
Maybe we could learn something from each other if we actually started to open our hearts and our minds to learning a little bit more about, you know, what is it that makes us unique and makes us very different. Thank you so much to you, Luba. But, you know, I mean, since we are celebrating Africa Day and it is about unity and facilitating learning, I just thought maybe it'd be nice, Martha, for you maybe to teach us a little something. So, I mean, how would we say something like, thank you so very much for coming to Expressions, and happy Africa Day in French.
Okay, if I don't teach you guys, I would be selfish. That is something that, no, if you want to say like, thank you so much, it's merci beaucoup pour avoir venu à Expression.
Merci beaucoup pour avoir Expression. I'm not gonna bite my tongue. Thank you very much, ladies. I don't know how you say hand it over to Mkolisi. Mr. Mkol, can I throw it back to you? I can't say it in French, but can you take it over?
Of course, taking it over. Thank you very much for that, Jackie. Maybe I can try. Well, hey, I'm not even gonna try. I get Magiti. So we're back on our social media sphere. We first start with Clemens Calvin says, there's no united in Africa, more especially here in South Africa. It's too racial and xenophobic. So Africa Day does not mean anything at all, because even leaders themselves are the ones who stand on the podium dividing us at the end. And of course, Charles says, being African is not just being black, it's also being white, brown, purple, blue, etc. It's essentially about identity recognized, as painful as it is unrecognized. And of course, those are all your views. Upindi Leyena says, African youth is divided by different ideologies. They believe in many different things at the time, some Muslims and some Christians. And of course, making an emphasis that song is Africans at the end of the day, though we're still Africans. Ulerato Yena says, the youth of Africa is not united and don't think it will ever be, based on what we, the youth, are doing and promoting hate speech on people who speak a language we do not understand, nor a person of a different color. This is a very important point, Jackie, a very important one. And of course, Ulindi Leyena says, yes, indeed it is united, because we can even see men are in protest, but not only for the sake of their families, but simply for Africa. And of course, making reference to the topic that we tackled last week on femicide, Ukanya says, it is not united. If we are ununited, we would work together to find a solution to Africa's social issues. Everyone has an idea, but they want to shine instead of sharing the idea and compile a team, because you can't do it alone. We work as a compound, of course. I get Bagiti, it's very important for us to also find out what you think we should talk about, Lapekaya. That's why we encourage you to send us your videos via our social media platforms. Let's quickly find out who Tufuna Skulume ngani ngesonto Zai.
Hi Expressions, my name is Museki Mulibati from Bloemfontein. Can you please guys discuss the issues of child protection and culture of protest?
Wow. Definitely looking forward to that topic. But I mean, Mkolisi, in terms of what we were talking about, any things that sort of kind of like sunk in and sort of, you know, took the message home?
I'm actually going to go home now and try and practice what we learned, that term that we learned about tuning into expression.
Tuning into expression in French. Yeah. I know how to say, je m'appelle Jackie, merci beaucoup. I mean, that's, yeah, I'm not too bad. I'm not too bad.
Clearly, there's a lot of things I don't know about my co-host, guys. I get Lapika, Jobasaz Guti Siyazi Pelange national anthem yetu yala Mzansi. But what about the African Union anthem? We close you off with a video from a young group of children singing the African Union anthem. From me and Jackie, till next week, we wish you a spectacular evening going forward. Good night.
Thank you for watching. Bye. Yes.